here at an event that we're hosting the Butterfly Society along with LSU Women's Center, STAR, the Mayor Office, Mayor Sharon Weston Broom's office, and 100 Black Women of Metropolitan Baton Rouge, and the Women Advancement Committee. A walk, a mile in their shoes, and a night of remembrance is an event that we've decided to come together and to remember those who's lost their lives due to domestic violence. Domestic violence is a crisis in our community. It's National Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and we want to continue to have the conversation, raise the awareness of what our community is faced with. Yeah, there's several other organizations who are here today who's supporting this event. We have Iris Domestic Violence Center, we have the Lighthouse, we have the Attorney General's office here with us as well. And everybody has come together to raise the awareness of domestic violence during the month of October because there's such a crisis on our hands here in the city of Baton Rouge.
My name is Mariah Wineski. I'm the Executive Director of the Louisiana Coalition Against Domestic Violence. We are here in support of this wonderful event to bring awareness to domestic violence and domestic violence homicide and to honor those who have lost their lives to domestic violence. Unfortunately, domestic violence is incredibly common, and I don't think a lot of people realize just how common it is. And in our state, particularly, we have a very big problem with domestic violence escalating to the point of domestic violence homicide. So Louisiana currently ranks second in the nation for the rate of women murdered by men, and of course the vast majority of those are domestic violence incidents. And we unfortunately ranked in the top 5 almost every year for the past 15 years. So it's a very serious problem in our state. I know that the rate actually for the past 6 years, the rate of these homicides has increased steadily every year for 6 years in a row now. So we are in the middle of a very serious crisis, and I just don't think a lot of people understand how serious it is.
We have a plan in place that before it gets to the level of someone losing their lives, there's definitely other options that you can take to prevent that from happening. And every agency that's here offers resources and services to provide to victims that are affected by domestic violence. I would tell someone that's going through it that you're not alone. The Butterfly Society is here for you, along with so many other organizations that stands against domestic violence. There's support, there's resources, there's services, and you're not alone in this. We have your back. We stand with you, we support you, and you're not alone in this again.
Help is available. If you are experiencing domestic violence, there is a statewide hotline. It's 1-888-411-1333, and that's a statewide domestic violence hotline. So there is help available, and I would say that I hope that everybody understands that they deserve a healthy and a happy relationship. And I think a lot of times that's what's missing, is knowing that you deserve better, knowing that you deserve to be safe, that you deserve to be happy, and that you don't deserve to be abused.
You can reach the Butterfly Society at thebutterflysociety.org. You can reach STAR at their website, IRIS at their website. The information is out there. We're not hard to find at all. Again, you're not alone in this. We stand united against domestic violence.
I'm Rachel Hebert. I'm the president and CEO of STAR, which is Sexual Trauma Awareness and Response, and I'll be emceeing this event for you tonight. I first want to start by expressing gratitude to Tawana and the Butterfly Society for organizing this event. And I want to thank all of the co-sponsors, which is the Mayor's Office, especially her Women's Advancement Commission, STAR, LSU, and 100 Black Women. Thank you so much for making this possible. The first thing we're going to do this evening is we'll have a prayer, and so I'd like to welcome Reverend Dr. Mary Moss.
Precious God, our Father, we gather together on this evening, first of all, to acknowledge you and to thank you for the opportunity to gather on this evening. We invoke your presence here for a cause that is dear to your heart. For you created humanity, you created equity and justice for all. So we pray that you would bless this effort this evening and that you would forever keep this mission on the top of your agenda. We thank you for every person who have assembled here. We thank you for the cooperation and collaboration. And we shall forever give you praise, honor, and glory. In that precious and mighty name of Jesus the Christ we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Is the mayor here? Has she made it to it? Right on cue. Mayor Sharon Weston Broome, thanks so much for being here. We're ready for you. Sit down, stand right back up.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rachel, and thank you all for being out here tonight on a very important occasion. I will tell you that the work that the Butterfly Society has been doing around domestic violence has certainly made a profound impact in our community. And as I've shared from time to time, especially with Ms. Harris, she took a vision that she had to empower women, and she ran with the vision, and now we have the results. But even more importantly is the fact that as I look around, I see collaboration with STAR, with IRIS, and other nonprofit organizations working to help women and others who have been victims of domestic violence. I'll share one other piece of information that has recently come to my heart, and that's the fact that many of the women who have been victims of domestic violence end up being among the heightened population of our homeless in our city. And so that is the issue, of course, that is very concerning. But with the organizations that we partner with that are here today, I am very confident that we can address that issue. And so it gives me great pleasure as Mayor President this evening to present to the Butterfly Society on their 5th year anniversary a certificate of celebration for being vigilant and meeting victims where they are and standing beside them every step of the way as they embark on their journey to repair their lives. Who's going to receive this? And I also want to thank the Mayor's Women Advancement Commission for all of the work that you've done in collaborating around this issue. Tawana, thank you so much for all that you do.
Thank you so
Okay.
The next person I'd like to invite up is Summer Stye, who is the director of the LSU Women's Center.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here to talk a little bit about, there we go, much better, to talk about why it is that we're here tonight at the wonderful event. Okay. So why we're here is right in front of you. It's all of these shoes that represent so many tragic losses for our state, lives cut short because of domestic violence and dating violence and the impact that it has on our community. These shoes are empty tonight, but think about the lives of those that walked in them before that. What we've lost as families, what we've lost as friends, what we've lost as a community because of this insidious thing that impacts so many lives within our community. We know statistics tell us 1 in 4 women will be impacted by domestic violence. How many of you here know, love, and care about at least 4 women? Everybody. So this is an issue that impacts everyone. That's why we're here tonight. We're here to raise awareness. We're here to remember those that have lost their lives. We have resources here tonight from our community that can tell you not only about intervention services, but what are the warning signs? I know Iris is here and I saw the Safe Dates curriculum on their table. So how do we get to our youth to educate them about not only what's not okay in relationships, but what do healthy relationships look like? So we can change the story. So there will come a day when we can celebrate and remember, but when there are no more new shoes representing the lives that we've lost in Louisiana. We know Louisiana has some of the highest incident and mortality rates of domestic violence in the country, and it's going to take all of us coming together and working together to address that. So thank you for being here tonight as we engage in this conversation, as we must continue having this conversation, and as we lift up and honor those represented by the shoes in front of us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Summer. Summer, thank you so much for telling us a little bit about the shoes. We'll fill you in a little later, but I want to point out that the reason why this event is called Walk in Their Shoes is because we never really know what someone is going through. And for many that experience domestic violence, they feel alone and silenced. Today, we're lucky to have two survivors that are here with us that want to share about their experience. The first I'd like to welcome to the stage is Mrs. Veronica Pryor Pachon.
Good evening, everyone. Let me tell you a story about a young lady that looked up to her father. She was 5. However, I didn't have a normal father-daughter relationship because at the age of 5, he started touching me and telling me, "You don't want me to leave your mom." He started grooming me at a young age. It started out with just touching. Then once my baby sister was born, "You don't want me to hurt her, do you?" So then it went further, and at that age, I was 10. My story started from something that I didn't find out till after what happened to him, with generational curses. Well, he molested me for most of my life. I'm only 48. It happened for over 28 years of my life. The last time he molested me was the night before my wedding in 2004. My father was also a minister. So it put a twist on things because I thought, why would God hate me like this? I'm a child. I would give my life for anybody. Was on an honor roll. Was a high achiever. So most people wouldn't have thought something was going on with me. The rest of the story. My mom, she was being abused. All of us was being abused. She couldn't get out of her head. Now she's one of the statistics. She stopped eating for 2 months and shut her body down because of the stories and the thoughts of not protecting her children. I'm choosing to be a voice for those that have been through domestic violence and incestuous abuse, to let them know that you can get past those traumas, to let them know that in spite of what you've been through, there is a next. To let them know that with hard work, with going through therapy, you can learn to stand on top of your story and no longer live in your story. Because it'll be sad to be alive, but yet dead. Because of staying in your mind about why me. So for those that are here, I'm glad that you're here to help partner with us because I'm too a part of the Butterfly Society. Because I'm choosing to tell my story to help children that look just like me. To talk to that little Veronica to let her know what she could have done. Because when I look at people going through the foster care system, I was too scared to tell because I had other siblings. And I took my chances on helping us myself. So most children had a chance to go to proms and all that stuff. I didn't get a chance to do none of those things. But it's okay because I know that my story matters and it's going to help other ladies out there and men. Because now I found out when I pressed charges against my father that he was sexually abused by a male cousin. See, that generational curse is a fool. And what goes on in our house, no, it shouldn't stay in your house. Not if it's detrimental to the going on of the family. So this is my story.
Thank you.
Thank you, Veronica. Now I'd like to welcome Mrs. Yolanda Pimignoli.
I often feel disillusioned, not about the work, because there's a clear and present danger around this issue. I see your dedication, your diligence to seeking justice, to be sure that it prevails, however fortunate or unfortunate, it's important and warranted. I'm disillusioned because after embarking on this course over 30 years ago, I felt hopeful that one day in my lifetime I would see an end to these gatherings, an end to the need for shelters, these tragic stories of death and despair. Sadly, 30 years has not been long enough. On a more positive note, there have been some changes in our laws. I've personally stood on the front lines with thousands of women and men to promote awareness and systemic change. What's evolved? There are more shelters to assist those who seek help fleeing violence and people like you who continue to remain consistent to the cause. So much more needs to happen, more education, more awareness so women know help is available, more strengthening of domestic violence laws, more financial resources to share adequately, and more gun restrictions. I say all this because, by the grace of God, I stand here tonight as a survivor. 37 years ago, 37 years ago, there was no shelter for me. I was shot with a double-barrel sawed-off shotgun by my then husband of 2 years. He was charged with attempted manslaughter for trying to take my life. Not attempted murder. His exact words to me, if I can't have you, no one will. And I know a lot of battered women are familiar with those words. But I say, the reason I'm here is because I want to continue to give thanks to God for what He has done on that day that I stared death in the face. For 2 years, I experienced the most horrific physical, sexual, and emotional and psychological abuse, along with isolation and stalking. As a survivor, I learned so much about who I am. I discovered what I was made of. Unearthing my strengths that have always been present and facing my weaknesses head on. Those strengths excel my career and my mission in life. I live on to experience. I lived on to experience a beautiful relationship with a man I met 30 years ago, and to become a local restaurateur for 11 years. I also live to share my story with anyone who wants to hear it, for the next woman who will feel like it's impossible to survive it. I get it. You're not alone. Despite what you're going through, there is help available. Throughout this journey, I've learned who battered women are, realizing that we're not monolithic. It can happen to any one of us. And although every story is different from one woman to the next, one common denominator remains. No one deserves to be abused, and it's against the law. Thank God for listening. God bless you and all of your work.
Thank you, Yolanda. I'd now like to welcome Melody Landry.
And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day, and I'll rise up, and I'll rise unafraid, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up, spite of the ache, I'll rise up and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you, for you. When the silence isn't quiet and it feels like you're getting hard to breathe, and I know you feel like dying, but I promise you we'll bring the world to its feet and move mountains, bring it to its feet and move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day, and I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. I'll rise up, high like the waves, and I'll rise up, in spite of the ache, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you, for you. All we need is hope, and for that we have each other, and for that we have each other. We will rise, we will rise, we'll rise, oh, we'll rise. So I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day, I'll rise up in spite of the ache. We will rise 1,000 times again. So we'll rise up, we'll rise like the waves, and we'll rise up in spite of the ache. We'll rise up and we'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you, for you.
I'm now honored to welcome our list of people who will be reading the names of those that have been murdered by domestic violence or as a result of domestic violence. I'm going to read all their names and then invite them one by one up to the stage. So we have Dr. Pamela Ravar Jones with the Mayor's Office. We have District Attorney Hiller Moore, Lieutenant Patty Freeman with the East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office, Monica Taylor with the Attorney General's Office, Councilwoman Tara Wicker, Amanda Brunson, Director of Women's Policy for the Governor's Office, President Dr. Tamara Wade, who is with 100 Black Women and also with the Mayor's Office, Executive Director of the Louisiana Coalition Against Domestic Violence, Mariah Wineski, and Eugene Collins, Hart Director of Community Services, and Marcia Burton, with the Butterfly Society Board President.
Terrence Roddy, Lovely Borsett, Maria Marcello, Gabrielle Bissett, Stephanie Scott Valerie, Kendrell Muse, Cynthia Goday, Krista Sudduth,
Denzel Labiche, Jessica Dunbar, Yarnell Gage, Lauren Robinson, Shaquate Tate, Asha Davis, April Peck, and Lakeisha Duncan.
Gerald Parker, Monique Maxey, Joseph Bunch III, Brandy Ayers, Desiree Warner, Laquana Whitfield, Monica Butler Johnson, Shanta Matthews,
Taquita Miche Brohow, Renee Blair Foster, Abigail Simone LeBlanc, Chandrell Sequance, Marche Sequance, Chartel Panwell, Catherine Penley, LaKendra Rogers, Summer Ernest, and Reams Lambert.
Nicole Jones, Michaela Jones, Lucinda White, Robin Hale, Benjamin McNeil, Sarah Hernandez, Christopher Price, Illyria Cyrus,
Carol Hutchinson, Jackie Neal, Tangela DeTiege, Gerald Tate, Amanda Corcus, Aquicia Pridgeon, Cherish Smith, Bianca Queen.
Lonnie Rocky Washington, Thomas Albert Kuti Jr., Betty Perry, Justin Nixon, Darnisha Da Silva, Greg Hesse III, Shalina Kyle, Christopher Evans, Sabrina Anderson, Stephanie Valerie, and Alice Mae Jones.
Aiden Riley, Nashana Riley, Dariana Ankalade, David Riggins, Sean Copeland, Mika Sood Fitzhugh, Cynthia Gregoire Godet, Elena Michelle Zaccaro, Amy Bernard Burke, Tyree Jackson,
Renee Williams, Shireen Smith, Edwina Campbell, Debbie Cook Landwehr, Billy Ernest, Tanner Ernest, Keith Terrio, Elizabeth Terrio, Vicki McNeely Sanders, Robert Walker, and Christina Riley.
Kathy Frazier, Shay Day St. Germain, Skylar Kimber, Christopher Lane Boudreaux, Elonzia Zolia Teal Houston, Krista Mae Sutter, Rudy White, Ivy Frank, Perry Bailey, LaQuindolyn Jaleese Hargrove, Bonnie Tremblay, LaShawn Lacey, Ronald Cyrus II, Bernicia Ross.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us in the reading of those names. I'd like to welcome to the stage Tawana Harris, the founder and executive director of the Butterfly Society.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. But before I do my closing remarks, I would like to invite Ryan Shaw with Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America to say a few words about their organization.
Good evening. My name is Ryan Shaw, and I'm the Baton Rouge Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America local group lead. We just heard the names of victims of domestic gun violence-related homicides. Not all of these victims were killed with guns, but research shows that guns are a prevalent and particularly dangerous component of domestic violence. Over half of female victims in intimate partner homicide in the United States are killed with a gun. Women in the United States are 25 times more likely to be killed by guns than women in other high-income countries. Unfortunately, the rate of women murdered by men in Louisiana is more than twice the national average. In the average month, at least 52 American women are shot and killed by an intimate partner, and many more are injured. Nearly 1 million women in the U.S. alive today have been shot at, or killed by an intimate partner with a gun. Research shows that common sense gun laws keep guns out of the hands of domestic abusers, stalkers, and reduce gun violence and save lives. Existing loopholes in federal and state law leave guns in the hands of dangerous domestic abusers and stalkers, often with deadly results. America's weak gun laws have failed the victims represented before us. Moms Demand Action is fighting for common sense gun legislation to prioritize the safety of our most vulnerable citizens. Please speak to me after you'd like to know more about what Moms is doing, and thank you all so much for your time today.
Thank you so much, Ryan, for you and your organization being here with us today. First, I would like to give God all the glory, the honor, and the praise for this opportunity, for this organization, and for such a great team of people that has been on this journey with me. So to the board members and to the volunteers, will you please stand and be recognized? Thank you so much. But I'd also like to thank the sponsors, Mayor Sharon Weston Broome office and her team for always saying yes to the Butterfly Society and for always being a partner. Thanking STAR as well, Rachel Hebert and her team, and LSU Women's Center, Summer, where are you? There you are. And 100 Black Women of Metropolitan Baton Rouge. Dr. Wade had to leave a few minutes ago, but thank you so much for saying yes to want to stand with us against domestic violence. Also to the Women Advancement Committee, also for saying yes to being a partner to this event. We cannot do this work alone. It takes each and every one of us coming together and standing united, shoulder to shoulder, saying yes, we no longer accept domestic violence in our communities. We no longer accept domestic violence in our city. We no longer accept domestic violence in our state. Too many times we hear the stories of women and men whose lives have been taken from them, and the shoes before us represent that. And I want to say this to you. You came here tonight with your mind set on one thing, but when you leave here today, I hope you have a different set of minds. I hope that you will go out when you leave here and have a conversation with someone about what we are faced with in our community, what information you have gathered here today, and go out and educate someone. Have the conversation. This conversation is hard to have. It's uncomfortable. It's not a pleasant conversation to have, but the conversation must continue because we're losing too many women and men to this. And we have to do something different. We must do something different. And we want those out there that are living in the shadows of domestic violence, who are afraid to come out of the shadows, who are afraid to speak out because they feel they have no one. They feel that they don't have a support system. They feel that they don't have someone to have their back. But I say to you tonight, we stand with you. We support you. We have your back. We are your voice. We will speak for you when you cannot speak for yourself. The Butterfly stands with each and every one of you, not only in the month of October, because domestic violence is 365 days a year. And we must continue this conversation after October, making certain that we are positioning ourselves to be the voice for someone who cannot speak for themselves. So thank you so much for taking the time out to be with us today.
Can we thank your assistant mayor? Can we thank her? Assistant mayor, thank her.
Thanks so much, Joanna. To close us out, I'd like to invite Erica to do I Speak Your Name.
I'll Speak Up for You by Erica Lachey. I'll speak up for you because I'm Mary Piel's granddaughter, and her legacy has a voice unashamed to echo the eras of its elders. I'll speak up for you because Mr. Henry used plywood to nail the windows and doors shut, locking my maternal grandmother inside while he was at work just to come home and beat her For leaving a house, he made sure she couldn't escape mentally or physically. I'll speak up for you because my mother divorced her first husband because he had anger, physical, emotional abuse issues, and he still doesn't know how to talk to the woman he shares a covenant with over 5 wives later. I'll speak up for you because my auntie married her abuser. So my prayers for her are selfless and intentional. I don't want her to become a statistic before she realizes that she deserves better. And true love doesn't intentionally hurt you. I'll speak up for you because his charm and my anxious spirit caused me to marry my then mentally compatible mate instead of my God-sent suitable one. I had no idea that his first wife left him for hitting her until he was yelling at me. Mercy had to manifest itself as patience, common sense, and a release from a self-inflicted covenant where God spared me from being his next victim. I'll speak up for you because my grandmother corrected me when I said no man will ever hit me. In love, she told me how foolish that affirmation was, and that wisdom knows I can't say what someone won't do, just what I won't ever allow them to do again. I'll speak up for you because you are not alone, and it could have easily been me. I'll speak up for you because someone is in this very situation right now that can cost them their life. And if I'm not concerned, or if practical resources aren't available, it could end fatally. Someone has to say, they have to do something. So I will speak up for you. God bless you.
Thank you all again for joining us this evening. Please stop by our informational tables or please touch base with people that you see on stage today. We're here to help you. We're here to support a violence-free community. Thank you and good night.
I've been part of the domestic violence movement since 1989. And, you know, I guess the hardest part for me when they asked me to speak as a survivor was really to reflect on my life and kind of see where it was when I first entered it and where it is now. As I said, sadly, you know, 30 years later, we're still talking about the subject because I hope sometime in my life I wouldn't see it anymore. But unfortunately, and fortunately, you know, the good part is that there are programs like this that are out here to help women and children and anybody who is experiencing domestic violence. But she asked me to talk about it as a survivor, and so that's what I shared because I was shot by my then husband of 2 years with a double-barrel sawed-off shotgun, tried to take my life. I thank God I'm here today to let my story be heard by someone who's afraid, who's thinking about it, but you know, she really doesn't have the tools necessary to help her escape. And so if I don't reveal anything else to anybody, what I do know as a survivor is the most dangerous time for a woman is when she is leaving a violent relationship. And so if you're thinking about it or you have a plan, I just want to make the suggestion that they reach out to someone, reach out to a program like this that can help them plan and talk through it, so she'll feel more confident about what she's going to do.
Today's event signifies a lot for me after going through 28 years of domestic violence abuse by my birth father that was a minister. So after trying to take my life and all those different things, I had to learn to have self-love for myself because he was abused too. So either I can choose to take the same route and give up on myself and then continue it on for my children, or I can change. So I chose to change for me. And that's what I'm hoping that others get out of today's event, that they see that they deserve better and that they are loved and that there is hope, but it starts within them.
I'll always stay hopeful because even if we get 10 years down the road and we're still talking about this issue, I know it would have saved many women in between, even if we're talking about it 10 years from now. there was an opportunity to save women.
We want to thank all of our sponsors who've been so supportive. LSU Women's Center, STAR, the Mayor's Office, 100 Black Women of Metropolitan Baton Rouge, the Women Advancement Committee. I mean, everybody's rallying together today to stand up and speak out against domestic violence and to let those victims know out there who are living in the shadows of domestic violence that you're not alone. You have a support system. You have someone who has your back.